It's Friday, November 22nd, 2019. Digital Trends Live is about to start. Here are some of the topics we're covering today. The Cybertruck has been unveiled, and wow, it's definitely something. We'll walk through what the Blade Runner-esque pickup truck has under the hood and when Tesla will release them into the wild. And in case you didn't know, we are 1 week away from Black Friday. And our own Oilan Maui will join the show to talk tips and tricks and showcase some great deals she has already found. And speaking of online shopping, have you ever purchased a counterfeit item? Well, apparently 20% of people have, and they may not even know it. Daniel Shapiro of Red Points will join us to give us the details, and we'll be joined by Porter Gale, the Chief Marketing Officer at Personal Capital, which handles digital wealth management. Porter will discuss the ways that financial technology is allowing people to completely personalize the management of assets. All that and more coming up on today's edition of Digital Trends Live. Surprise, we're here. It's Digital Trends Live. Hello, everyone. It is Friday. This is Digital Trends Live. This is our daily show here from Digital Trends, where we bring you the trending tech topics of the day, news, interviews, headlines, discussions, and more. And we are broadcasting live from our Samsung QLED 4K studio. Thanks for joining us. We're live on a number of different platforms. We're on Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Dailymotion, Apple News, 2 different mobile apps, a smart television app, and at digitaltrends.com/live. So wherever you're finding us, you can join in the conversations that we're going to have today. And there is so much to talk about. We need to get started right now. I'm Greg Nibbler, joined by Nick Moke. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's an exciting morning to be here. A lot happened yesterday.
It is, yeah. This is something that, let's just get right into it. Let's talk about what everybody is talking about today, and that is the Cybertruck. So Tesla finally unveiling this. We had Elon Musk a couple of weeks ago tease that he was going to be announcing it with his Blade Runner-esque tease that he did, talking about November 2019. And yesterday we got to see it, and I will say, as far as entertainment, it did not disappoint.
Yeah, I feel like we very rarely get to see these like completely clean slate designs anymore in tech unveils. Everything is an iteration now, and this was just completely fresh, original, completely absurd, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So much theater in the unveil.
It is. I mean, and that's one thing that, at least no matter how you feel about Tesla or Elon or SpaceX, it is the entertainment factor. I mean, look at that, coming out with fire. This thing looks like it's off the set of a movie, but it is real. This is their truck. This is what we've been anticipating for so long, and we see some competition in this area with electric vehicles, especially pickups. Ford's going to be coming out with theirs, their F-150. You've got Chevy working on it, Rivian, but this is something, like you said, it's just completely different. And that's what I want to know, what people think about this. I see a lot of people joining us on Facebook and YouTube. How do you feel about the look of this, just to start off with?
It's such a polarizing design.
It is.
Everybody either loves it or hates it.
Yeah. And we've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter making comparisons to DeLoreans or various other things that it could look like. There's a Simpsons meme that's out there. This demonstration right here, it is. I mean, the theater of it's just so great. Bringing a sledgehammer out and pounding, I don't know whether it's a Ford door or whatever it is that he's got right there, and then taking the sledgehammer over to their own car and showcasing, look.
Well, even better that everything didn't go according to plan, and maybe we have it on the footage there ahead. But yeah, their demonstrations did not go off completely as anticipated.
Yeah, the throwing the steel balls at the windows, talking about how it's going to be basically bulletproof, and then it just shatters.
They both broke. And then poor Elon Musk has to stand in front of the broken windows for the rest of the presentation.
I know, and then all the PR pictures are that with the broken windows behind it. So the optics are something special for that part. But let's walk through like some of the actual specs on this thing, because it is pretty impressive what they've got in it. So what they're saying is that the towing capacity is going to be 14,000 pounds. So that's along the lines of an F-150.
More, in fact,
more than an F-150.
I think it bests all of the big three trucks in towing capacity. I mean, again, like Elon Musk is kind of famous for making these claims, and whether or not they can actually deliver on that is another thing. But in theory, it kind of outspecs pretty much out there right now. Yeah,
you're right, the in theory side of it. So there's that. They said that there's going to be 3 different tiers of it that you can order. The first one starting at $39,900, which price-wise, that is really competitive for that end of pickup trucks that they're going after. after.
Yeah, I think everybody was expecting a hair under 50K after that initial. He had said something previously about how it had to be that low. I don't think anybody was quite expecting 39.9.
Yeah, that's really low to start off. Again, if that's how it all ends up being, but this is what they announced. So that's all we can really talk about. So there's that, and then there's two different other tiers they can go up to. There's one that's an all-wheel drive. They said a 3-motor version that could get 500 miles of range. That's huge.
And 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds.
Yeah, so it's got a little bit of the sports car side of it, and it's got that towing capacity and the long range. I mean, that stuff, as far as those stats and what it actually has, that's really impressive.
Yeah, I also like at the very end they pulled out the ATV that was unexpected. Did you see that?
Yes.
It charges in the bed.
Oh, it does? I didn't catch on that part. Okay.
The pneumatic suspension drops down in the back to make loading it easier, and then inflates back up, and then you plug in the ATV to charge it while it's in the bed of the truck.
Perfect. That just makes sense. I mean, and we're seeing some comments too come through from people who want to talk about this. But this is, and again, we want to know what you think about this, how you feel about the truck. So let's see what happens when a designer watches Back to the Future and Tron too many times, and and some Blade Runner thrown in there. You might have a good mix for everything, I think, when it comes down to it.
I'm very curious to know what truck guys think of this truck.
Right.
I think it's pretty cool. I wouldn't own one personally, but I at least think it's novel.
Yeah.
I want to know what the F-150 Silverado crowd thinks about the Cybertruck.
And that's the thing when it comes down to it, because you're right, who is this targeted towards? Because Tesla fans, I mean, hardcore Tesla fans, there's some of them that are going to buy it. I mean, right now you can put down a $100 deposit, refundable deposit, to get in line for them. I think there's going to be some of those people, but that's the key market, right? It's pickup guy in Nebraska. Is pickup guy going to want to get rid of his F-150 and drive that around?
Yeah, and I'm really curious about that. If any of you own a pickup, please chime in. If you're a huge truck fan already, I want to hear from you.
I own a Ford, but I don't think this would be the truck for me.
You're not a Cybertruck buyer?
I'm not a Cybertruck buyer. I think if I'm going to buy one, I don't think I would buy this one. I just don't know if I could do it. I mean, it's cool. I mean, sure, I'll take one for free, if they want to give me one to loan out. But yeah, I want to see it actually in action and actually do something that a truck would do. Like see it, taking a load of bark dust or something. I mean, something that you actually get a truck for, because otherwise it's neat looking. I mean, and they have what they're calling the bed they're calling it the vault.
The vault, yes, because of that line.
Yeah, and then it's got the retractable, basically a canopy kind of thing on it.
Yeah, it almost looks like like one of those doors they roll down in front of a store at the mall when they close. It's got the reeled door.
Yeah, and again, we're live. I want to know what people think about this. So if you do have thoughts and opinions on this new truck, a couple of other things, talking about the sledgehammer side of things and how they demonstrated how hard it is because they're using some kind of a steel alloy. They said that they use it at SpaceX. That's great and all. What happens when you're in an accident with that?
Oh, good question. Yeah,
like, what's going to happen to the other car? Yeah, I mean, you're just going to plow through and rip things in half. I would think, safety-wise, there's got to be some things.
Why would you think about anybody but yourself, though?
That's true. If you're getting one of these, that's probably the case. But yeah, this is what we're looking at right now. It's a huge deal in tech and polarizing, like Nick said. But good or bad, it's still exciting.
Yeah, definitely. One of the other cool things that I don't think got quite enough attention was the off-road capabilities. It has 16 inches of ground clearance, which again puts pretty much other trucks to shame, because with an electric truck you don't have the dangly bits down there, center differential that's normally going to get hung up on rocks. 16 inches is crazy. I mean, you could go over a lot with that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of space too. That was the other thing. They said that the hood, under the hood, is a whole storage space, and then even the lining of the back of the bed of the truck is more storage space. So it's pretty roomy. It fits like 6 people, I believe, inside of it. So all of that stuff does look pretty cool when there we go. There's an example with the ATV in the back as well. But man, I really want to get more opinions on what
profile. It just looks like, when I first saw this, it reminded me of like something I would have like drawn in the margins of a notebook in middle school when you're just like bored in German class.
Yeah.
I'll draw a futuristic truck, and then Elon Musk just sort of made that real.
Yeah, he really is obsessed with Mars. That does look like it's going to be on Mars. That's where I think this is all going. That's what he's thinking about. But that's the Cybertruck. That's the reveal. And I know we've got a lot to pack in like 4 more minutes of this segment, but we want everybody to take a look at that at Digital Trends. We've got a whole write-up on it. It's going to be talked about for a long time, so check all that out right there. Let's get to a couple other trending stories, though. We do have another one from Facebook, and this kind of goes with a theme this week, where we had Google retooling their advertising terms to try try to cut back on basically political ads that could be influencing with false information. So this is what Facebook is working on, and they said that they're going to scale from the minimum amount of people that you can target an ad to, from I think it's 100 people, make that 1,000 the minimum. So that way you can't hyper target specific people. How do you feel about these advertising changes?
Well, I feel like, I don't envy these companies for having to sort of self-police on this stuff because, there's no legislation for this right now. I think they're all grasping to try to try to silence their critics. Like, okay, we're taking care of this on our own. We don't need laws.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a uncharted territory, and I think they're all scrambling. Nobody knows quite what to do to actually make this work. And it kind of just feels like a patchwork of random changes at this point.
Yeah.
I'll be very curious to see. It's so random. It seems like a lot of these things would be very easy to work around. It's going to be a cat and a mouse game where it's like, they make some new rules, and then the people making the ads find a way to kind of get around them.
Yeah, and you're right. The people who are putting these ads up are definitely going to find workarounds.
Brilliant campaign strategists.
Exactly. Well, you've got Google doing this, Facebook, Twitter has just said no, we're just not going to have political ads, which is kind of an interesting move on their part. I feel like a lot of it is just for PR.
Yeah, they have to seem like they're doing something, right? Because there is so much pressure right now.
Yeah, but there's also so much money to be made in these political
ads.
Yeah,
every time they make a new rule, they're basically saying no to money.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard position to be in. Again, I really don't envy these companies for trying to have to figure this out on the fly in an election year.
Yeah, and with things changing so fast too, just constantly evolving and changing strategies of these different companies that are trying to get around their systems and yet still look like that. But that's what Facebook is doing, so that's their move on it. You can check that out at digitaltrends.com. Let us know. I think we're going to see a lot more of this as we go through getting into this political season. Let's do another one, though. So another big announcement this week, and in particular yesterday, we got a date on it. It has to do with Valve announcing the release date for Half-Life Alyx. This is huge.
Yeah, I watched the trailer. It made me so happy.
Yeah. So
I feel like Valve.
Fan?
Yes. I feel like I finished Half-Life Episode 2 when I was in college, and I thought, surely we'll have Half-Life 3 before I graduate.
Right.
15 years later, finally starting to see a glimmer of hope.
So how do you feel about this one being released on VR?
It's a bold move, I think.
Yeah.
If there's any flagship title that will get a bunch of people to invest in VR, this might be it. I don't have that hardware, but this is a title that would actually make me think about going out and buying it.
You'd consider doing that, because that's really what I know too. Because for Half-Life fans, like you said, this is a huge game, a huge franchise to bring to virtual reality. Definitely a bold move to not put it out on regular consoles.
I also trust Valve to do it right. I feel like a lot of VR games so far have kind of been like tech demos. They're kind of novel, but they don't really hold up for a long period of time. And Valve is going to take their time with this. They're notorious for that. Who knows when we'll actually see the game? But yeah, when it comes out, I trust that Valve will actually have done it right.
And it does look really exciting.
It does.
This would maybe even influence me on picking up a VR headset. And you don't actually have to have those super high-end ones, although probably that's going to be the best gameplay, like the HTC Vive and the Oculus. Because we have a list up right now at Digital Trends of different headsets that you can buy if you really want to play this game.
And I think some of them are the Windows mixed reality headsets, which are pretty affordable. Those are not super expensive.
Yeah, a couple $100 or somewhere in that range. But yeah, big move for VR, and what this could mean for virtual reality for VR gaming. If this is successful and gets people to actually buy some VR headsets and get into that system, then maybe we start seeing some other franchises come over. What about Red Dead Redemption in VR? All right, I'm sold already. I just made that up right now, and I'm sold. So that would definitely get me over on that side of things. But yeah, what do people think? Is this enough for you to go buy a VR headset? Because VR person out there, they're already into it.
Yeah, I'm curious, after this comes out, if VR doesn't kind of take off, then I don't know what else will make it take off. I don't know what other killer application could come out. A Half-Life that fans have been waiting for 12 years is,
right.
I can't possibly think of a more tempting thing to get people to buy into that platform.
Yeah, and if that
maybe Red Dead.
Yeah,
maybe
Red Dead VR. Yeah, that might. Although even now, because everybody's playing Red Dead 2, I think this is an even bigger draw, this Half-Life.
Agreed.
Half-Life version. So you can check that out, Digital Trends. We've got all the trailers and the details on the game itself if you want to find out about that. It's pretty exciting and a bold move. So we've got a couple of bold moves that we've talked about today with Tesla with the Cybertruck, Half-Life going to VR. But it's Friday, and we need to show you something that's just amazing. And it's a drone getting shot out of a cannon. That is what we're talking about right now. So this is a demo that came up. I believe this was at Caltech. Yeah, it was Caltech and NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California. This thing is called the Squid. It's the Streamlined Quick Unfolding Investigation Drone. I mean, I feel like somebody's just like, I want to call it Squid. I got to sandwich some words in there to make that
really
work.
bent over backwards to make that work.
Right. The investigation drone. Yeah, it's a football-shaped quadcopter that you fire basically like a ballistic missile. So they demonstrated shooting out of the back of a truck. Yeah, there it is. It's pretty cool. It shoots out that fast and then unfolds, and then boom, you've got your drone up in the air.
Yeah, when I saw the first demo, I think this one on the field here, I kind of thought like, okay, but why?
Yeah.
But then it comes out of the truck and it kind of makes more sense. That actually does seem like a practical way to like deploy a drone really quickly.
Yeah, if you're on the go and you need to get one up right away. And regardless, I mean, why? It's because it's the drone being shot out of it. That's all you need.
Final word.
But that's pretty awesome. So you can take a look at that too at Digital Trends and just stay up to date with everything we're talking about when it comes to tech. There's always so much happening, and we have more coming up. We're going to take a break here in a minute. First off, though, Nick, thank you.
Thanks. I'm going to go put my deposit on a Cybertruck.
There it is. So now we'll find out. You just need to park it right out in front of the building. Just leave it right there. Yeah, find out about the Cybertruck, more about that at Digital Trends. We've got up next Riley talking about some interactive new television shows that are out on Echo. So he did some great interviews. So we're going to be talking about that. And all this is coming up here in just a minute with more Digital Trends Live.
Apollo 11, your go for separation.
TV is making history again. The groundbreaking Samsung QLED 8K.
Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you for joining us, and we'd like to keep you up to date on everything going on with tech, and streaming television is certainly a part of that. And our own Riley Wynn went down to Los Angeles for Echo Entertainment for their new release of 4 interactive shows. So these are basically choose-your-own-adventure programming, and it's really, really cool. Fun stuff where you get to decide what happens during them. He went down to some of the premieres. We've got some of his interviews here right now. Let's go ahead and roll those. Here it is, Riley Wynn in LA.
Thanks, Greg. Riley Wynn with Digital Trends. We're here at Goya Studios for the premiere of 4 new shows: Timeline, Epic Night, The Coop, and Wizard School Dropout. These 4 shows will be exclusive to Echo. Echo is an interactive video platform where viewers get to decide the plots of their favorite movies and TV shows. We're going to head over to the red carpet to catch up with the cast and crew. Tell us about the process of shooting with Echo. How is it different than, your normal medium of just shooting a series or a TV show? How did it affect your process of creation, acting, directing, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I directed and also ran the show. Okay, shooting interactive is like putting together a 1,000-piece puzzle, but all the puzzle pieces are made out of noodles, and you have scissors for hands.
It's so interesting because the scripts are like calculus, because you have like 3 different options in the same page. So what was most interesting is like keeping a thread mentally about where you are, because we could be doing one scene, but you thought differently about that character. So then you have to remember, oh yeah, I'm in a different emotion at this time. So to me, it was like theater. You know, it was like playing two different emotions of the same character, which is really fabulous.
What about you, Nick?
Same.
Same, but different.
You covered. I was also dead most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was different in every facet, from like rehearsing the scenes to like actually shooting them, and even the script. It didn't look like a traditional script. We had to like make a brand new format just for content like this. And I think what's really cool is Echo is almost like the mesh between a video game and a movie, so you can have that really cool experience in a video game of interacting with it, but also feeling immersed in the world like a film.
So what we did is we did the rehearsals where you pick an emoji in our show to pick how she acts or feels. So I would just yell out to Rachel Crow, our lead actress, I'd say like, heart emoji and emoji, and then she would act that piece of it out. And we had this really strange language. I'm sure anybody who walked in would be like, what the heck is going on here?
In short, it's fine. It's all
You
the
know
same.
what? I'd say it's just a lot more work, right? Instead of learning like one set of lines, you got to learn 4 sets of lines.
Right, and then you got to remember, oh, I riffed in this one. I got to match that in case the other viewer chooses blank or whatever. But I think that makes it fun. It was fun to do in that way.
Can you tell us your favorite outcome and a little bit about it?
No? Ooh. Let's just say my favorite outcome is when Lilith drinks too much. So it leads to some very comedic moments.
I get in trouble with the law, and you can choose if you like me enough to help me with that situation, or if you don't like me, well, let me just, go behind the cell, man.
There's a really fun party scene and dance scene. I don't want to give too much away,
Right.
but I had to do some choreography. That was really fun, and that's one of my favorites.
I mean, somebody dies besides the person that you might know dies, that I think is pretty unexpected and fun.
There's a possibility that there's a fun celebrity guest star at the end. Someone you recognize from the world of comedy and acting. And I'm having Tony Hill. Oh, Bridget Everett. Spoiler.
Choose me is all I'll say.
So if in real life you guys were to be on a reality TV show, what would it be? You can't say The Bachelor, but what would it be, you guys?
The Great British Baking Show.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
Man, what are my options? I don't watch. You know what? Real Housewives. I want to be a housewife.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, there you go.
Shantae Eisted.
Below Deck.
What's Below Deck? I've never heard of that one.
It's like a cruise. It's like a yacht. No, it's not a yacht. It's like a charter boat. It's like about boats.
Okay. Oh, you like Life on the Sea?
No.
I would be in Fear Factor.
Oh.
Yeah, I want to eat spiders.
Okay.
I'd be on Naked and Afraid.
Tell me more about that. I want to hear more about this.
I just want to be naked, dude.
What's one piece of technology you can't live without?
I could live without all technology. I'm crazy technophobic.
My AirPods, I love them.
I would say I'm trying to quit Twitter, but I never will, ever.
Probably my phone. I'm completely addicted to that thing, and my wife is desperate to get rid of my mistress.
I am a fan of Excel sheets. Organization is really sexy to me.
Oh, my phone. I know that you're probably getting that answer all night, but I really can't live without my phone because I have a weird stress about missing an email, so like I need to be able to check my emails.
My electric toothbrush. Is that technology?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so.
I'm pretty low tech. I grew up on a farm.
So if you had your own Choose Your Own Adventure series about your life, what would it be called, but you can't use your own name?
Should I just give up?
Moesha, this is how it was.
Adventures of Leaving the Couch.
Solid.
Damn it. Just say Adventures of Leaving the Couch Part 2.
Yeah, Adventures of Leaving the Couch Part 2.
The younger
Part
year,
2, part
the
2.
college
Part 2, yeah. Yo, he fed me so many of my lines, as you could tell. We haven't stopped this relationship since we rapped.
Yeah. I'm sort of like Cyrano de Bergerac. I'll text him and he'll say what I'm texting, like on dates and shit.
I don't even order for myself now at restaurants. I call Gabriel.
Get yourself a pad thai, brother.
Really horrible choices no matter what you decide. That's probably mine.
What do you want at Chipotle?
Squawks Extra.
Yeah, Squawks Extra. Do you want to throw a fuss about it, or do you want to just shell out that cash?
Mine is called Mad Trombone Player Lost in the Forest. And it's about a trombone player, and you have to pick what notes she plays, and depending on what note she plays, a different path she takes to the forest.
F1, kill one, marry one. Netflix, Disney Plus, Echo.
I'm effing Echo all day long, baby.
I'm gonna F Netflix pretty hard. Because, I mean, they got some sweet gams on that Netflix. You know what I mean?
I would marry them all.
I gotta F Echo. I gotta marry Disney Plus. They're my OG family.
You're a Disney girl, right?
Yep.
Disney girl.
Yeah.
Netflix does always have my heart, but
Well, can I marry and F Echo? I mean, we're married.
That's true.
So I guess that means you don't.
Yeah.
Watch Timeline, the 21st. Directed by me, written by this guy. Starring an awesome cast. Peace out, Digital Trend on this.
Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Again, thank you, everybody, for joining us. That was Riley Wynn down there at that Echo event. It's always awesome seeing some of that behind the scenes and getting those interviews. Also, Riley is apparently 7 feet 10 inches tall compared to everybody else who was down there. So we've got more coming up, though. We have a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about Fox Sports. We're going to talk about digital programming. We've got David Katz who's going to be joining us. So stick around. Back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live.
Apollo 11, your go for separation.
TV is making history again. The groundbreaking Samsung QLED 8K.
Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you for joining us. We broadcast live here every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, so you can join in and have conversations with us while we talk about exciting things in technology. And certainly, we here at Digital Trends are big fans of streaming content, in case you didn't know. And right now, we're going to talk to a leader in that industry. We have an executive vice president and head of digital for Fox Sports. We have David Katz joining us right now. David, thank you so much for being here on the show.
Hey, Greg. Nice to meet you, and thanks for having me on.
I'm excited to talk about the platforms in general and get your input on this. It's coming from such a really unique position. But for everybody out there, can we give just a bit of an overview of Fox Sports' digital platform and what all that involves?
Absolutely. So we are the digital arm for Fox Sports. Many people know us based on the television programming that we've got, and we really have the best portfolio of live sports rights in the business. If you're watching us through the week, you could see us on Thursday Night Football. You'd see us on Friday with WWE SmackDown. Saturday morning, you'll wake up and watch college football with us. Saturday evening, you'll have PBC boxing. Sunday, you'll have NFL football all day, and then sprinkle in Major League Baseball, World Series, NASCAR, and all kinds of other events. We've got a full slate of live streaming and authenticated video programming for fans both on television and on the live streams.
So that's a pretty robust package you just listed out there of different programming when it comes to sports.
Keeps us busy.
Yeah, I would imagine. Well, and sports is such a unique thing, too, because we talk a lot about streaming content here on the show, and, you know, there's a lot of video on demand. But when it comes to sports, live seems to be usually, I mean, how people would want to consume that. You want to watch it as it happens. So in that aspect, how have you seen the trends when it comes to streaming sports programming? What are the general trends that you've seen since you've been doing it?
Absolutely. The television, we'll say in quotes, and the video landscape is really bifurcated into an on-demand world and a live world. And when you think about where television was, more traditional linear television was, 20 years ago, 25 of the top 100 shows on television were live sports. Last year, it was 88 of the top 100 shows on television was live sports. So live sports is really carrying the television bundle. And as a beneficiary of that on the digital side, we have an opportunity to stream every single game that is streamed live on television on our authenticated digital platforms. So if you come to the Fox Sports website, our mobile app, or connected TV app, you will see all of the content that you would see on our television networks and on our Fox broadcast channel. The growth in those areas has been tremendous. We're seeing nearly doubling of the viewership year over year across that. And the exciting thing for us on the digital side is we just finished October, which is always a big month at Fox Sports, given the quality and the content that we've got going through our pipes. But this particular month was the biggest month we've ever had in our history. So we're hitting on all cylinders. We do a lot of live streaming, but also one of the key tenets for us is to keep our fans engaged between the airings of these games that they might care about. So how do we do that? We create a lot of supplemental programming. We create a lot of video on demand. We dissect not just the programs that we have on our television air, but we also create a very substantial suite of content that is exclusive to these digital social platforms. And we do that through our digital team here to keep fans engaged throughout the week.
So regardless if you're watching the World Series, you can still watch other things after that, to stay engaged with the platform. I want to ask you just one thing for an overview picture, just because you do have such a unique position and insight onto this. When it comes to cable, cord cutting, this isn't something that's brand new. Obviously, this has been happening for a while, and we see this shifting paradigm of where people are getting their content. Overall, do you still see a position for standard cable in this marketplace, or are we all going to eventually just stream this online?
Look, we are believers in the value of the bundle. And as I said before, you can look at the content that is working on television, and it really appears to be sports. NFL content across the board is up 6% year over year. The Fox Sports NFL content is up. Fox Sports college football content is up. So our ratings are increasing, and our streaming is nearly doubling year over year. So I do think that fans value the bundle. They value the content we're bringing to them. And then when you think about the leagues and the teams that are coming to places like Fox Sports looking for distribution, they clearly value the Big Ten strategy that we have. We are able to aggregate the largest audiences out there. And I think teams and leagues are going to have to kind of make that choice over time as to whether or not where they want their content to be seen. So we strongly believe in the value of authenticated live streaming content. It's working for us. It continues to work for us. And the MVPDs and the DMVPDs, the YouTube TVs and the Hulus, are all being tremendous contributors to the overall viewership that we have every week.
Yeah, and that's going back to that bundle side of things too, right there. Keeping it with somebody's in with YouTube TV, Hulu, or whatever the platform is. Yeah, getting all those shows at once. I want to go back to some of the programming that you mentioned, because you do have, obviously live streaming sports speaks for itself, because that's something everybody wants to engage. But you mentioned all those other shows in between to keep people engaged and interactive. How do you do that? Clearly we've got specialized programs, behind the scenes things. But what are some other ways that you're exploring to keep the modern digital streamer engaged?
Right. So I think the first thing that was interesting for our job is we're not just focused on the programming that is on Fox Sports. We are serving the sports fan more broadly. So the sports fan might be interested in NBA programming, and they might be interested in Champions League soccer. We are there to create compelling content, and we have arguably the best social team in the business. You look at our metrics, you look at our performance across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We are having record months year over year. We've had growth 25 of the last 28 months across all platforms. The only months not being growth or when you're comparing yourself to these outlier years like a men's World Cup and a women's World Cup and things like that. So for us, we are covering comprehensively the world of sports. Now, when it comes to the events that we have the rights to, we have a different level of access. And that's where we can get really creative. So if you happen to watch what was a terrific 7-game World Series, in addition to providing the live authenticated stream, we provided a complimentary second screen experience live during each of those games, where we had Dontrell Willis and Johnny Gomes hosting a live watch with stream throughout the entire game, throughout the entire series. We had people like Roger Clemens stop by and sit down for 3 innings and share their wisdom and insights. It's a less formal environment. It's a way for fans to engage and ask questions directly of experts about what they're seeing, things that you might not see on television, and the behind the scenes storytelling. We do that this weekend. We've got Penn State and Ohio State playing in a very important Big Ten football game, and we'll be doing a watch with show from the stadium with expert talent that is exclusively to digital, sponsored by Wendy's. We do this stuff all the time, and we will also provide a lot of VOD content, behind the scenes, access, interviews, analysis. And our goal really is to take fans places that they wouldn't otherwise be able to go without us, and serve the fan that way and keep them engaged.
I love that kind of interactivity of something exclusive and that less formal aspect where you can feel like you're a part of the program with just, a couple of experts just hanging out talking about it. That's a really great policy on that. One more question I just wanted to ask you just on the tech side of things, and this is looking forward, and you may or may not have an answer on this, but looking at, the way tech changes so quick. You mentioned all the different social media channels that you're on. And that changes like that with some of these new ones that just pop up, so you have to be on top of that. But looking at the tech side of things, we see a lot with mixed reality, augmented reality, virtual reality. Do you see a space for that? And I know there's been some stuff with sports in that, but do you see that as a big player for sports programming going forward?
Yeah. There was a lot of money that was thrown into that at a very nascent stage. There was a lot of experimentation. Fox Sports experimented with that. And we were going to look at every new technology that comes to bear. We will go deep when we think there's a real audience need for it. So I'm personally intrigued by a lot of this. I think it's going to be very interesting for sports fans. Some things, augmented reality might be a little more interesting than virtual reality at the onset. But we do look at everything across the board. And when you have the bundle of rights that we have, a lot of the cool technology companies will come to us. A lot of the leagues will come to us and want to experiment. And we're absolutely open to that level. I think the brand of Fox Sports has always stood for innovation. We were the first to do the Fox box and the yellow line markers and all of these various forms of technology. We're going to be the first to do, the Super Bowl in 4K this year. We do look at technology as a way of bringing in fans and showing them a glimpse into the future. So that's not going to stop.
Well, David, I want to say thank you so much for joining us here today, too, to talk about this. It's obviously we're fans of streaming content, and clearly you're at the forefront of all of this. For people out there who want to start getting involved with Fox Sports Online, digital entertainment, if they're brand new to it, what's the best place to send them to go?
Look, we do an enormous amount of content. We're probably putting out close to 10,000 original pieces of content a month across our social platforms. So the Fox Sports handle or a specific sports handle, for example, if you're an NFL fan, that would be NFL on Fox. We have a lot of different handles out there to serve your needs. So check us out. Social media is a great, easy way to get us involved. And then, yes, we've got our website, we've got our mobile app, we've got our connected TV app. And over time, you're going to see that constantly evolving as we update things and think about how fan behavior is changing. So thank you for having me on. It's exciting to talk about this stuff. And it's going to be a busy end to the fall/winter season. And it ends for us with the culmination at Super Bowl LIV on February 2nd, 2020 in Miami, which will be on Fox as well.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Like you said, it's great to have these discussions and really appreciate you being here on Digital Trends Live.
Thank you so much.
All right, so fun talking about that, right? Live streaming content, that is so important. It's the way that we're all consuming. I know if you're watching us live right now, that's probably one of the ways that you're consuming it. So wherever you are, unless you're on our smart TV app, that's cool too. But that is one of the fun things about it. So we get to have these kind of conversations with leaders in tech industries, and that was definitely that. So appreciate that. All right, we have a lot more to talk about though. So Black Friday is 1 week away. It's coming up. It's that soon. Thanksgiving's even before that. So what we're going to be doing is talking about some different tips and tricks to find those best deals. We have a lot of people here at Digital Trends that try to make that job easier for you. So we're going to have Oilong Maui in here in studio to talk about that. Back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live.
separation.
TV is making history again. The groundbreaking Samsung QLED 8K.
Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibler. Thank you for joining us today. And 1 week from today is Black Friday. It is time to start thinking about the deals, and that is what we do here, is try to keep you up to date on that and walk you through the best way to get the best value for everything. We have Orilong Maui here joining us. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
And you are our expert on this.
I'd like to think so.
Yes, I would say so. You definitely are. So what do we need to know starting off with Black Friday? I mean, and I feel like still there's that idea for a lot of people that you need to go out to the store, get the doorbusters and, risk your life going to Walmart or whatever. But that's not necessarily the case.
No, it's not. Nowadays, Black Friday was traditionally thought of as like the time you go in store, and Cyber Monday came in, and then you would stay at home and shop online. But all the deals are online now, whether it's Black Friday or Cyber Monday. If you really want to risk injury and go into the store, like by all means, go ahead. But really, the trick is just to like stay at home. Make a nice turkey sandwich, chill on your couch, and shop online.
Yeah, and just go through the deals that way.
Exactly.
And that's what we're taking a look at here too. So there's so many of them. Can you give us like kind of an overview of like maybe what do you think are some tips that people should have?
Yeah. So find your deals through a trusted third-party source like us. And that's because we take the time to go through like the thousands and thousands of offers that there are. Yeah. And we only show you and recommend the ones that are worth buying. Plus, we also rate our deals from 1 to 3. So we're very honest about whether or not a deal is a great deal, you gotta get this, or if this is like, hey, if you were kind of on the market, this is $10 off, it's okay. Yeah. Or like this is about 2 years old, so just know that going in. Yeah. We're very, very honest, and we don't surface anything that we don't think you should buy.
And that's great. Actually, I love that rating system. That's fantastic. Because sometimes it can get so confusing when you're going through everything. Like, I don't know if this is a good deal or not.
Exactly.
But then I want to hit buy, and then maybe I shouldn't. I'll have regrets. So yeah.
Well, that's what they want you to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Not us.
Nope.
Them.
We're here to help you.
Yeah.
So that's great. So come to Digital Trends, follow along with everything that we have there to stay up to date on the deals. Any other tips that you think people should
have? For Amazon shoppers, there's this really lovely tool called camelcamelcamel.com. And there you can track the price history of any item that's sold on Amazon, so you know right away whether you're getting a good deal or not. It tells you through like a sort of price histogram chart where it is. So if you see something that is being marketed as a deal for Black Friday or Cyber Monday, but you see it was cheaper like by $10 2 weeks ago, then you know you're just being gamed.
That is awesome. I had no idea that site even existed.
It's like my favorite site.
So camel.
It looks kind of not legit, but it's very legit.
Okay, there it is, camelcamelcamel.com. So you can go there and check the prices on everything. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about some deals.
Yes, let's.
Some deals that are out there right now, some of the ones that you picked out.
So this wouldn't be a deal show segment if I didn't bring up the Instant Pot. I know maybe some of y'all are tired of hearing about it, but there are people who still don't have one. I myself won one during our holiday party.
Oh, nice. You won that?
I tried to give it away, and everyone was like, no, I have one. Like, everyone here has one. So that should tell you something.
Okay.
So we do have an early deal right now. It's live on an Instant Pot. I don't even know which model it is.
DUO80?
Yeah,
DUO80?
Exactly. So that one's live right now. There are some like early deals that are live. That's one of them. But if you wait until Black Friday, there is going to be quite the steal of a deal on that model. So just FYI. So make sure you bookmark digitaltrends.com/DTdeals/Black-Friday-deals because it's going to go live there as soon as it drops.
Okay, so that is where to follow along. And we'll have lots of links coming up too on the site, kind of guiding you to where you need to go to find out about all this stuff. So yeah, Instant Pot, those things are always huge.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot of Instant Pot recipe books that are on sale. So if you already have one, but you want to, diversify your menu at home, you can cop some of those.
All right.
We also have right now live a Apple Watch Series 3 with GPS deal for the 38 millimeter size. That one is $170 down from $199.
Okay.
So that's an older model. So if you're not really into the new, but you want an Apple Watch.
Right. It's kind of a good time to do it. I mean, with all the newer stuff that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's my preference.
Yeah. Get it. It's a couple years old, but it's way cheaper.
It still has
nice.
everything that you need.
Right.
And it's still nice. You still have that like premium look. You'd be flashing your wrist, looking like real fly.
Right.
Digitally speaking.
Yeah. In a digital sense.
Yeah.
So that's the Apple Watch Series 3 with GPS, 38 millimeter. So that's $170 right now.
And we also have the Nintendo Switch bundle with Mario Odyssey game, and that one's up for about $400, $410 right now.
Okay. And that's I feel like Switches always as well are going to be.
That's a really big one. Like people are like hoping to buy one if they haven't already had one, or you gift it. So this is a good one to have on your list.
And getting it with a bundle is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
They come with something already. So Nintendo Switch, and I bet there's going to be, I don't know, maybe there's other bundles that'll show up.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. I can't always say what we have, but just keep an eye out and make sure you bookmark that page.
Keep an eye out. All right, so that's the Nintendo Switch bundle with Mario Odyssey game, $410 right now, and we'll maybe see some other deals with that as well. What's a couple other ones?
And the last couple that sort of caught our eye is the Canon PowerShot camera with a Wi-Fi bundle. So.
With the Wi-Fi bundle.
Yeah, it's like almost 50% off. I'm bad at math, but basically it was $384 and it's now $194.
Yeah, that's a really good deal actually.
Yeah.
That's a solid camera. A Canon PowerShot, with the Wi-Fi bundle. I think we've got a review of that too at Digital Trends.
We do. It's a really nice little, compact, very, very lightweight. You can do a lot with it. It's a good deal.
For $194, that's a good entry into a solid camera. So that's,
and it's Canon, so you know you're getting quality.
Right. Yeah. So that's a great deal. So check that out. And then just one more.
Lastly, for all the big TV type of folks, we got a 70-inch LG 4K TV. And that is up for $647, down from $900. So you're saving quite a few bucks there.
That is a good deal. And it's always around this time. We were talking to Caleb Dennison, our television editor here just the other day. The expert. And it's a good time to buy a big television. He's like, buy big. Because it's the time to do it.
I feel like he would say that.
Yeah, it's exactly, paraphrasing Caleb. Buy big. But there it is. So that is the 70-inch LG 4K TV, $647. And that's just an example. This is just a sampling of all of those deals out there. And we have so many people who are scouring all the sites to find you the best deals and give you that rating system, which is so great to make your life easier when you want to sit there and, like Orlong said, eat a sandwich and click and buy. So there it is. So we just made it simple for you. Well, thank you so much for sharing some of these deals. We've got a lot more. So we're going to be live on Black Friday. We'll do a 4-hour show on Cyber Monday. So there's lots coming up where we'll be walking you through all of that. So just join us right here on the show. Thanks again.
Thank you.
And we have more coming up here on the show. So a lot to talk about as always. We've got Ken Young from Flipboard is going to join us here in just a little bit for Tech Briefs to keep you up to date on some of the biggest stories of tech this week. But coming up next, we have Daniel Shapiro from Red Points to talk about their brand and their platform and everything that they're doing with to help you not buy counterfeit products. You'll be shocked to know how many people have bought counterfeit products. So we're going to be talking about that and more. Stick around back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live.
Apollo 11, your go for separation.
TV is making history again. The groundbreaking Samsung QLED 8K.
This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you for joining us. And as we've been talking about, Black Friday is on the way once again. It has sprung up seemingly out of nowhere, but there is always a lot of data that comes out about this, and it's always interesting stuff to figure out, to talk about, to find out about, and to do so right now, we have Daniel Shapiro, who is the Director of Global Strategic Partnerships for Redpoints. Thanks so much for joining us. Having just a little bit of an issue on the sound there. Just want to make sure. Okay, we're good to go right now. We're live. Okay, all right, there we are. Thank you, Daniel. Thanks for joining us. So let's talk about this. To give everybody just an idea, too, can you talk about what Redpoints is?
Sure. Redpoints is a brand intelligence solution to help brands protect their revenues from a perspective of finding counterfeits online on hundreds of marketplaces, social media sites, as well as protecting minimum advertised pricing and distribution across the e-commerce platforms.
So you have a really good overview of a lot of what's going on when it comes to these giant shopping holidays.
Yes, we do. We certainly do.
I was really shocked to see some of the information about counterfeits and some of the things that you found out about with that. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we did a survey, as we've done in the last couple of years, asking people who have bought product on Black Friday, whether they've purchased by accident or on purpose a counterfeit, or whether they bought an original. And surprisingly, we've seen a lot of people who have purchased counterfeits, not knowing necessarily at the time, but certainly finding out that in fact what they bought was a counterfeit.
Yeah, that is something that I've just never even thought about. Now I'm going back thinking about all the things that I've bought. Like, oh, shoot, did I buy something counterfeit and not even realize it? How do you, I guess when you're shopping, how do you protect yourself and figure that out if that's a possibility of something that you might be buying?
Yeah, it's a real challenge, Greg. I think in some cases, we sort of break down the counterfeit purchase into two categories. Those are sort of counterfeit seekers that might want a counterfeit for a game day jersey, getting ready for football on Thanksgiving and want a jersey for their team, but they don't want to get an original. That's not necessarily good, by the way, but it happens.
Right.
And then there are counterfeit seekers, like you just said, Greg, which is, I hope I haven't bought a counterfeit. I mean, I thought I've been buying, legitimate product and hope that it's, real. And those are the people who may or may not know. We've seen some indication that in some cases, about 13% of the people have bought a fake item on purpose, as opposed to, let's say, 7% of the respondents had said, they didn't know they had bought a fake. And that's because they somehow found out. Maybe it broke, maybe they tried to return it, and then found out it might be, in fact, counterfeit.
Oh, man, that would be so frustrating. I can only imagine. Well, what more? Just talking about the counterfeit side, and I want to talk about some of the other findings that you had from this survey too. Sure. Was there a particular age group or generation? How did that break down?
We seem to find that the Generation Z, were 40% more likely to get a counterfeit than, say, a baby boomer or a Gen X person. And I think that's maybe in some cases the number one reason people buy product tends to be price. And so if you see a deal maybe that looks too good to be true, I think a Gen Z might have bought it because the price is good, and perhaps a baby boomer is a little more skeptical and does some searching around or something to that extent. But that we have seen they're more susceptible to have purchased the counterfeit for sure.
What are some other things that you found through this study and other interesting statistics that you pulled out of this?
Yeah, we found that men are like twice as likely to have bought a counterfeit than women. So about 28% of men, when surveyed, had in fact bought a counterfeit, whereas only 14% of women had bought a counterfeit. So I'm not sure I know why that is, but certainly an interesting stat for sure.
Yeah, the numbers are the numbers. So if that's what it's coming out to be, that's what it is. Well,
yeah, maybe that's men buying more, perhaps deals or electronics, or being more aggressive out there looking for the best price, and women being a little more sophisticated, and knowing what they're looking for, and therefore a little bit more skeptical, perhaps.
Well, and again, this is the survey that came out. So can you talk about the survey itself, who all you conducted this with?
We conducted it with about 2,000 folks across the U.S., shoppers that had tend to shop on Black Friday and really, get excited for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. This is the weekend they've been waiting for. And we asked them a number of questions about counterfeits and had they found it, had they purchased one, had they not, and so forth. And really interesting responses from that group of people for sure.
Well, looking at it as, going forward with all of these big sales that are going on right now and people with their buying trends, what are some other overall things you've seen this year, maybe compared to last year, that you're noticing are different when it comes to this?
Yeah, I think we're seeing certainly an increase of people who have had the experience of buying fake. It's more prevalent, I think, as e-commerce becomes, the more prevalent channel in which people buy for Black Friday and certainly Cyber Monday. Seeing an increase, while disappointing on one hand for brands, maybe understandable because of the growth of e-commerce from that perspective. And I think as it relates to people's satisfaction, we're seeing people increasingly, unfortunately, maybe okay that they've purchased a counterfeit, which is again maybe a little disheartening, but in fact, it is what it is, unfortunately. So
yeah, the numbers are the numbers, and that's what people are doing.
We're here to help people, fight it really. And I think one of the things, maybe, Greg, people tend to trust our big platforms, like the eBays, Amazons, Walmart.coms, and they are trusted platforms, which is how people sneak in there and they hide inside the hundreds of millions or tens of millions. So it may not be a lot, but they're hiding inside there and very hard to find for sure.
So when somebody's going out there and they're buying something from the consumer standpoint, you mentioned one thing already. Like if the price is too good to be true, pay attention to that. I would imagine that's something. What other things should people look at?
Yeah, there are a lot of ads out there that drive people and pull people off trusted platforms. I think platforms like Amazon or eBay have built a lot of reputational trust in selling quality products, but sometimes you're tricked to think you were on Amazon and you get tricked somehow off on an ad or whatever, where they've used they've tricked you somehow, and you end up not on one of the trusted platforms, and you're taken advantage of from that perspective.
Well, for people who want to follow along with this study too and find out more information, because it really is fascinating just seeing how we're all purchasing and how comfortable we all are, or a lot of people are, with counterfeits, and what that means for all of us, that's something for another discussion. But finding out about the stats, where can people go and read up more about this, about what you did?
Yeah, we have it on our website at redpoints.com, and it's on there for people to read. We're happy to have you come take a look at it. And we appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
All right, well, Daniel, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate the info, and excited to see what happens here for this next week. And everybody can go check out that study right there at Red Points. Thanks for joining us here on Digital Trends Live.
Have a great Black Friday shopping weekend.
Thanks. I'm going to be careful.
Okay.
All right. And so, again, Black Friday coming up a week from today. So talking about some statistics, pay attention to what you're buying. You could be getting a counterfeit, so be careful with that. We've got lots more coming up, though, here on Digital Trends Live. Ken Young from Flipboard is going to join us for Tech Briefs. We're going to talk about the biggest stories in tech this week. We'll give you an abbreviated version so going into the weekend all that you need to know when it comes to that. So that's coming up here in a minute. Stick around, back here with more Digital Trends Live right after this.
Apollo 11, your go for separation.
TV is making history again. The groundbreaking Samsung QLED 8K.
This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thanks for joining us. It is now time for Tech Briefs. To do so, we are now joined by Ken Young. Hello, Ken.
Hey, Greg. How's it going?
Going well. Have so much to talk about, as always. I know I say it every week, but let's get down to it. There is something this week, though, in particular, that was huge, and that was Tesla unveiling the Cybertruck, which we saw Elon Musk tease this a couple of weeks ago. We've been talking about it. It's been anticipated for a long time, but finally getting to see this Tesla, their version of a pickup truck, unveiled. Now, they've got competition. Ford's working on theirs. They're going to have the F-150. Chevy's got one. Rivian's got one. But Tesla, nobody has a design quite like this one. And I think that right out of the gate, we're going to talk about the internal side of it, but the design itself is such an Elon Musk thing to do. And it's with that weird trapezoid shape. It's got, instead of the bed of the truck, they're calling it the vault. How do you feel about the design? Let me just ask your opinion really quick.
The design-wise it's not for me. I think it's not the most horrible design, but it's not something that I particularly prefer. I guess I prefer more of the traditional style. But look, as you said, this is Elon Musk. This is Tesla. They're not going to do something that everyone else is doing. They're going to change it up and be futuristic. This is something you would expect to see on on Mars. In the Matt Damon movie, The Martian. This is like the rover that you're going to see out in space, but here on Earth. So this is it's a heavy-duty vehicle, and it's certainly going to compete with the Ford F-150 and everybody else that wants a pickup truck that's using it for trucking, lumber or tools or furniture or whatever else you need. So this is pretty interesting. It's more probably environmentally friendly. That is powered entirely by electricity. But of course, as you see here, there's certain hiccups that emerged with the unveiling. As you see right now, they're beating up a door with a sledgehammer, and they have this super duper armor-plated glass, Tesla armor, which was supposed to be shatter resistant, but unfortunately was not. So investors and people saw this, and that was pretty much the embarrassing part of the evening for Tesla.
Yeah, they did. They threw a couple steel balls at the glass and it just broke them. And then for the rest of the show, Elon Musk had to stand in front of that with that part of it. A couple of things, though, talking about the vehicle itself. Now, you mentioned it competing with an F-150, and the price is actually pretty good. It's starting at $39,900, which is very competitive, if not lower than some of those same vehicles that it's competing against. Up to, let's see, a 14,000 pound towing capacity, which is better than an F-150 in most cases. There's a third version, so there's 3 different levels that you can buy into. The third level, the highest one, has up to a 500-mile range, which that definitely addresses, I feel like, a lot of concerns for average pickup truck drivers. Like, well, how far can this thing go? Can I go off-roading? Am I safe out? And, if I want to take it out for a long drive in the middle of nowhere, 500 miles is definitely going to get that for you. So, as far as the internals and that actual side of it, it's pretty good. It really does stand up based on what they said. Again, this is with just what they're revealing, so assuming that all of this is true. It does stand up to that, but I think that look is going to be a huge issue, and I feel like the big takeaway from this for me is this going to be something that average pickup truck driver, and I keep saying that, but that really is. That's the market you're going for, right? You want Joe with his F-150. Is Joe going to want to drive this thing? Is Joe going to be ready to take this kind of strange, weird design, or is this just going to be for real Tesla aficionados?
So I think what Tesla is going full out on is the price point. Yes, the base price of nearly $40,000 is nothing to shy away from. That's actually pretty affordable for those that want pickup trucks, especially those that are using it more for laborious type of activities. For average individuals like myself, I probably wouldn't get that unless I really want a pickup truck. But I think people, are very have an affinity for their brands, especially when it comes to cars. There's not that much turnover. So Ford has a dominating market share in terms of pickups. The Ford, F-150 is one of the top pickup trucks in the market. So I think what Tesla has to do is try and find ways to find an angle into the Detroit market, because Detroit is dominating in terms of pickups. So, and look, I think people want Ford, they want their Chevys, they want their GMs, but they recognize that individuals want to have more environmentally friendly vehicles that, they don't want a gas guzzler that, will get like, dozens of miles to the gallon versus something that can take them 500 miles per charge. And which is, nothing to, that's unheard of for people that are using pickup trucks.
Right.
So the fact that they can do that without and save on time and cost, that's going to be pretty significant. But the look is going to be something that's going to be something people are going to be looking at again, whether or not that's something that's worth their time, what they want to be seen at. But the cargo space is certainly something of importance for people compared to the F-150, the distance and overall price, and the fact that, if you're going to pay up to $60,000 or more for this vehicle that has 3 engines and up to 500 miles per charge, is that something worth paying for outright versus getting the F-150?
Right. I mean, the apples to apples comparison when it comes to the actual stats of the thing, I mean, it's right up there, if not better, definitely competitive with it. So we'll have to see how people like the design. Regardless, I always love it when something like this comes out, whether it's successful or not isn't something I have to worry about. I love innovation. I love looking at it. I love the showmanship of it. I thought it was a really fun event and definitely neat to see. We got a couple other things we need to get to too. Google Stadia, now that we've had a little bit of time on that since it's come out. This is Google's move towards streaming online gaming. It was supposed to change up the industry, has Sony scared, had Microsoft scared. Everybody's going to want to do it, and it is not rolled out so smoothly. So a couple of issues. We had some articles go up about this. One being how much data it utilized. And during a test that we had, it used, if you wanted to stream at 4K gaming, 10 gigs per hour of data. You're going to destroy your data cap at a certain point if you're really a hardcore gamer or even just a moderate gamer at that level of data. So that's a big issue. And then also another thing with that streaming and all that data is that for a lot of people, if you want to stream to your television, you have to use a Chromecast Ultra Stick, which comes with one of the bundle packages. They were overheating. They couldn't handle the streaming gaming. Not a great rollout so far for Google Stadia.
Yeah, I think the phrase when you say, oh, something's on fire, I mean that's kind of like, hey, it's really, really good. In this case, that's probably not the right analogy to use for Google Stadia. I mean, look, this is so hyped, very similar to a lot of these other services that are coming out these days. Google Stadia, like I was really impressed by the launch, and I was tempted to buy into maybe the Founders Edition and play these type of games, and Google had really touted the fact that, look, you're going to be able to play these games no matter what device you are, no matter where you are. It's going to be low latency. It's going to be very it's going to be top notch, top quality. And when it actually launched, the reviews all were contrary to what Google had promised. So the quality, you're supposed to get 1080p or 4K. You did not get that for some games. Of course, now you mentioned that it's a data hog. The fact that it's 10 gigs an hour, which is, look, I think if you really want to put to the test the fact that you have unlimited data on your wireless plan or even with your ISP. I'm pretty sure someone's going to get mad at you, or you're going to find soon after you stop playing, you're going to be, you're going to have your data very, very much like slowed down significantly.
Yeah.
So this is something, when you factor in 5G, this is really going to be a data hog, and you're going to wind up the overall cost, the long-term cost could be something that most people don't account for when you want to play Stadia.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's kind of surprising that they didn't think through some of this beforehand, but that is where we're at with right now. So this is Google Stadia with their rollout, and you can read more about it everywhere. Digital Trends or Flipboard. Those are the two places you should go. But you can read more about it on there. And there's more competition coming. Amazon's going to be launching their service most likely sometime next year. That's rumored. You've got Xbox working on it, PlayStation working on it. So we'll see where that space goes. But that's where we're at right now with Google Stadia. One other thing to get to this week, just quickly here as we start to run low on time, is talking about Uber and an announcement that they have where in order for your security to help make your rides more secure for both the driver and the passenger, there's a test they're going to be doing in the United States of recording audio of you in the car. There's a lot of diciness with this as far as how they're going to roll it out, whether who can consent to who, whether this is what people want. But it's an interesting move by Uber. I question how many people actually want this.
So I think Uber is plagued by security issues, more with safety issues. There's been lots of reports of drivers committing crimes or potential damages that have occurred. So this is something to kind of reassure the public that, look, your driver's going to be safe. And of course, we can go back to what the old, what the taxi industry is saying. Look, our taxi drivers are bonded. They're insured versus Uber drivers who are not necessarily licensed and to do livery type of services. But I think this is on one hand, this is an interesting proposal and an experiment by Uber. But let's be clear, this is not something that will definitely be rolling out. This is something that Uber says that they're considering, and obviously, there's a lot of factors to include, especially when it comes to wiretapping laws and recording laws. The consent aspect of things. Not every state will allow you to record somebody unless both parties agree to that. Some are one-party agreement, some are two-party agreement.
Right.
There are some that are saying the audio. So Uber is also saying that the audio will not be available to either the driver or the passenger. And now when you factor in the video side, that's equally something of concern as well. But how many people get into an Uber and, do they talk shop, or they talk about something that they're, may not necessarily they should be talking about in public, but they do willingly in the back of an Uber. This is something that most people probably won't consider when they're getting in. It's like, let's talk about this super secret stuff, and then get in an Uber, and then all of a sudden like, oh, everyone shut up. We can't talk about this because we're in an Uber.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird feeling on that. Yeah, as far as how people can handle that.
Yeah, so I think this is something. Look, on the one hand, yes, they need to make their rides safer. Whether or not this is the way to go, I don't know. They have made some improvements overall in terms of safety features and sharing location down 911 if you don't feel safe. And certainly they need to do more background checks with their drivers and a lot of other things. Whether this is the way to go, I don't know. But interesting thing, we could actually see the next, remember at the time where Uber co-founder Travis Kalanick got caught berating a driver. The driver had a video recording device. So, I mean,
it could be something along those lines too.
Yeah, I mean, there's some pros and cons to these type of things, to witness these type of things.
Well, right now, this looks like this rolling out in Latin America. They're going to be testing it, and then they said they're going to bring it to the U.S. soon for testing, whatever that means. It's going to be a little bit of a dicey move, but that's what we've got for you. So again, this is Tech Briefs here every single week. If you're watching live on video, hit subscribe to the podcast. That's another great way to keep up to date with everything. Ken, as always, thanks for being here. Always fun to talk about tech.
Thanks, Greg. Really appreciate it.
All right. And thank you to everybody who's joining us here on Digital Trends Live. We appreciate each and every one of you. So we've got more coming up. We've got more tech to talk about. We've got Ryan Juanita, who's going to join us here in just a little bit to talk about streaming television and movies and what's coming up with that. Coming up next year, we have Porter Gale, who's going to be talking about personal capital and how we can manage our finances. All that's coming up. Stick around back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live.
Apollo 11, your go for separation.
TV is making history again. The groundbreaking Samsung QLED 8K.
Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Thank you for joining us. We broadcast live here every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, keeping you up to date on everything going on in technology and talking about different ways that technology can help us in our lives. We're going to talk about our finances right now and how technology can help that out. To do so, we have Porter Gales, the Chief Marketing Officer for Personal Capital. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'm excited to talk about this and figure out some different ways and understand like kind of an overall picture of what's going on. Can we give everybody, though, some background on what the company is and what your platform is in particular?
Sure. Personal Capital was started in 2009, and we are a finance company that blends technology and advisors to really help people with their finances.
So, which is really important. We've seen some innovation in this field. So starting in 2009, so you've seen a lot of shift in, I would imagine, the different tech that's available. So when you talk about helping out to manage, can you give us an example of what that would be?
Sure. Well, I'm sure that you can relate to this, Greg. A lot of people have very complicated financial lives and multiple accounts. What we do is we provide a platform that lets you aggregate all of your accounts so you can have one holistic view of everything that you have and really see your net worth.
Nice. That would be actually very nice. Yeah, to be able to understand that and see everything in one place. So, talking about the trends, in financial technology, what are some overall trends that you've seen with this field?
Sure, great. A lot of the trends that we're seeing is that people are using technology, which you can see some of it on screen now in one of our old commercials. But they're using technology so that they can really put the control at people's fingertips so that you can actually have the same type of technology that people typically used to not be able to have. Other trends that we're seeing is obviously we've got fiduciaries, which is what we are, where we're really trying to act in the best interest of our consumers and really do the right thing for them.
So acting in the best interest of consumers, so talking about it from that angle, what are consumers looking for? What do they want out of their financial technology?
Sure. You know what consumers want? They want safety and security. They want to know that their information is protected. They also, what we provide is a single sign-on so that you don't have to have multiple accounts all across the internet. You can have one password and see everything that you have all in one place. And also people like to have real-time information so that they can see exactly what they're spending, what they're budgeting. And what we do is that we also have a lot of tools. We've got retirement planners, We have college planners so that you can actually put an actionable plan in place and really look towards your future.
And is that utilizing all technology, or is there a personal connection in there with a human, or how do you manage that side of things?
Sure. Well, what's great is you can use our tools for free, but then we also have people that use us for wealth management. And in that scenario, you can actually talk to your advisor on the platform so that you're looking at the tools at the same time that you are talking with the advisor, so they can actually show you instead of tell you what's happening with your accounts.
Let's talk about personal capital just overall too. And I know some different initiatives that you're launching and kind of changing up what you've been doing before. Can you talk about that and how you differentiate from maybe other financial services out there?
Sure. Thanks for that. Well, some of the things that we're doing, we actually just rebranded the company. And what we're trying to do is really show people more of the personal side of what we're doing. And, the word personal is our name. And with the technology and the people, we're able to give you individual advice, help you build portfolios that are exactly what you need. The other thing that's important is that we really want people to know that we're a fiduciary. And again, that comes back to the ethics of investing and making sure that the people that are helping you are really acting in your best interest.
And you mentioned security in there as well, because that's certainly something that people are becoming more and more aware of, is their data and how secure is it and how much data is out there. What are some steps that Personal Capital does to protect that data?
Sure. Well, you know what? Actually, safety and security is one of the things that is most important to us. We were actually founded by Bill Harris, who is a kind of a legend in the tech industry and knows a lot about security. So we have third parties that we're integrated with. We have a chief security officer who is always making sure things are safe, and we have the best technology that we're constantly testing. We actually just also had it's called a bug bounty program, which is a hacker program where we had a duplicate of our system and we were allowing people to hack it. So we're always looking for anything that could be perceived as not safe and secure. So constantly looking at that. And thankfully, knock on wood, we've never had a problem, and we've been in business for 10 years, and it's a very, very robust platform.
Nice. Yeah, it takes a lot to stay at the forefront of that. So it's always interesting to see what kind of platforms or what kind of ways people are trying to stay on top of that. And having a bounty program is a great idea. I mean, have somebody go out there, like try it out, see if you can do it, and figure out where those holes are. Well, for people out there who want to utilize the system, what is the first step someone would do to get involved?
Yeah, sure. Well, you know what's great about Personal Capital? It's actually free. The tools are the financial tools. And so we have over 2 million people using the tools. The first thing that you would do is go to our website at personalcapital.com, create an account. And then after you create an account, you can link your accounts. And that's very easy to do. We have aggregation with many financial institutions. Link your accounts. And then what actually happens is you get to see your complete net worth. Some of the other things that are interesting is that you can link your address and then actually put your mortgage and the value of your home into the system. So link your credit cards, your bank accounts, and then you can start actually playing with the tools and see, what do I need to do to get to my retirement goals? What is the likelihood that I can make it based on my spending? We actually have very, very engaged users, and the people that use us usually log in about 20 times a month. And we actually have found that people spend less when they use us.
Well, I want to say thank you very much for joining us here to talk about this and talk about different ways that, this technology can make somebody's life easier. It's definitely, if you can get a full view of it, and that's probably going to help out a lot of people in that aspect. And I want to say thank you so much for joining us here on Digital Trends Live to talk about your platform and everything that you're doing.
Great. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Porter. All right, and for everybody watching live, thank you for joining us. Again, we like to keep you up to date on what's going on in technology and different ways that tech is changing lives. Coming up next, though, we're going to talk about streaming, and we're going to talk about movies. We're going to talk about entertainment, because we have Ryan Juanita coming in for another edition of Between the Streams. Stick around, back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live.
Apollo 11, your go for separation.
TV is making history again. The groundbreaking Samsung QLED 8K.
Well, hello there. This is Digital Trends Live. Thanks for joining us. It's Friday, which means it's time for Between the Streams. I'm Greg Dibbler.
And I'm Ryan Juanita.
Yes, you are indeed.
And I was drinking coffee while
There
I
you
was
are.
saying that.
That's why
That's multitasking.
I wanted to toss that to you right there just to do that. That's how talented
It's the morning and we're live.
All right, let's talk about movies and entertainment. This is Between the Streams, where we keep you up to date with that. And there's definitely been some big things going on. We've got some kind of topics and rumors that have been happening. But there's no question we have to talk about Disney Plus.
Yes.
Start off. We've got a little over a week now with it.
Right.
And what do we know so far?
Well, I wrote a review about it, and I wasn't as glowing as everyone because, look, all of that content is fantastic, and I try to be as fair as I can. But this is an interface that is just not ready for prime time, and it's kind of, a bummer for Disney to be such a massive company and forget such basic things. Like, so yes, they had some stumbles, some people couldn't log on, and we talked about that, and of course, there's some slow loading times, and every once in a while when I open it up, all the panes will be gray. That's kind of like, you get that because they're learning, they're delivering a lot of content, they have more subscribers than they expected. But what I didn't expect were things like there's no continue watching or recently watched section. So if you're watching, say, an episode of The Simpsons and you try to go back to The Simpsons, it takes you to the very beginning again. But even worse than that, there's no indication of how much of each episode you've watched. So if you don't remember that you spent 11 minutes on episode 5 of season 2, it's just, you're there.
Yeah.
Pick a show and you'll never see that extra 8 minutes or whatever because you forgot about it. So they're not tracking what you're watching. There's also no resume or restart button, but they're fixing that, I guess. So they're starting to jump on these things. And in fact, Rick Marshall said today when he was watching the latest episode of The Mandalorian, out today, they come out every Friday, by the way, that on his browser, it started showing him how much of each episode he had watched. So they are looking to fix these things, but my question is, did they not think about that? Like, did they not watch Netflix at all before they made this thing?
And that is one of the fascinating things when you have
weird.
something as big as Disney Plus.
Yeah.
That's such a big shakeup to streaming television. I mean, definitely the biggest entrant that. I mean, HBO Max will be big too, but this is.
But it's already
huge.
kind of there anyway. It's HBO Now, and then they're adding some stuff to it.
It's a huge entrance, and to have these stumbling blocks, it's just kind of it is fascinating when you have a company as big as Disney, where so much money, but they didn't. Think, oh yeah, just watch Netflix. Do what Netflix does.
Yeah, I mean, and they kind of did because the interface is pretty and it looks a lot like Netflix with a Disney twist, and it's cool to see all of these studios at the top so you can pick through the studios. Yeah. And I also like the way that they've organized a lot of their content. But another problem is search is really bad. So I said this in my review, but my wife wanted to watch 101 Dalmatians, so I type in 101 Dalmatians. It doesn't find it. It finds 2 live-action movies that Glenn Close starred in and the straight-to-video movie, but it wouldn't find it because it was under 101 the words written out, and the search couldn't figure that out. I mean, that's bad search, and honestly, search is something that's really hard to fix easily because you're talking about an intelligent algorithm that has to kind of know all the mistakes you might make when you're trying to type it in. It's something that you'll see over time. I mean, Netflix has had a decade to perfect this. So I think some of these other things will be fixed quickly, but I think search will be something that we'll have to live with for a long time. And
Well-
as you said, I mean, we haven't seen an entrance like that since HBO Now, which came out, I think, in 2015.
Yeah.
And that had its own issues. If you'll remember when Game of Thrones started airing, it would always like just blank out on people in the middle of Game of
They
Thrones
did
in
that
those
to me,
early
yeah.
seasons.
Uh-huh.
But they didn't have these kind of sort of design like flaws.
Basic flaws.
Yeah, basic pragmatic design flaws.
Well, I mean, it's out. So
but all the
hopefully-
content's good.
And that's
you know,
going on to the content.
It's great
side
to
of
have,
things.
and it's affordable. So we still recommend it, obviously. But for now, I gave it a fairly low score because it's just.
Yeah.
I expected better from
Yeah.
Disney.
Well, talking about the content side of things, let's talk about The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Which, I mean, I'm sorry. There has to be a little bit of a spoiler here because if you haven't seen this, it's everywhere. There's no way you can avoid some of the spoilers of The Mandalorian, which, I mean, Disney was smart for a few different reasons. But the show so far, now that I haven't seen the latest episode.
Right, today.
Yeah, today. That just came out today. But the first two, it is so good.
It's very fun.
It's really fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
I mean, I think it's the antithesis of the Jedi thing with the heavy-handed stuff.
Yes.
It's just a straight-up bounty hunter who's walking around doing cool stuff, fighting big, dumb monsters, and hanging out with Jawas.
It is, and
I mean,
you know,
perfect.
and we've talked about this. I can't remember how much we've talked about on the show, but it takes a lot from samurai movies. It takes a lot from westerns. It takes you know, a lot, obviously, from the early Boba Fett kind of like touches that we saw, and it's very quintessentially Star Wars in a lot of ways. It's very Return of the Jedi, which is fun. Some people, you know, have called it out for having too many throwbacks to Return of the Jedi, but you know,
whatever.
It's a fun show, and I think Pedro Pascal's great in it.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is, it's short. You know, 25 minutes on some of these episodes, and you're kind of just getting going. I feel like, you know, when you're used to having a prestige drama or a prestige action show be, you know, 50 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes usually. That's sort of the HBO standard. That's the Netflix standard. So it is kind of odd that it's a 30-minute show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
But it's still good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And what you were going to say was
Baby Yoda is a phenomenon. Yeah, it's I mean, you're going to see it. It's such a genius marketing move for Disney. I mean, I'm not
that's
saying
probably
they
what Disney's
designed it
best
for a
at.
marketing move, but I mean, come on, have this come out right before Christmas.
It is like the cutest thing, and we already have word that there's going to be Baby Yoda toys. For the holidays.
Of course.
We weren't thinking about that, guys, but you know, now that you guys like Baby Yoda so much.
Oh, didn't even realize. You guys like this? You guys like the Baby Yoda right there?
Also, no spoilers, trying to be no spoilers, but you know, it can't be Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
The time doesn't. The
No, it doesn't
timeline
match
doesn't
up.
add up, and so we don't know what to call
Unless
it.
it's a clone.
Yeah, unless it's a clone. Okay,
Could be
good
a
call.
clone Yoda.
That's true.
Cloda?
I didn't think Cloda.
Clonda? I don't know.
I like Cloda.
I think I'm okay. I'm capturing that right now.
I would like them to
Copyright.
tell us what Yoda's, you know, races or whatever, like whatever you would call those creatures.
Yeah,
or
nobody knows
something.
what
We
they're
don't know
called.
what to call the thing.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Well, there it is. So, Baby Yoda. It's
Baby
a thing. So that's The Mandalorian. That's on Disney+. A couple other things that we just want to keep you up to date on. Some big rumors that are going on. And I know for a lot of fans of the newer Star Trek movies, the Chris Pine-led Star Trek movies, there's been just this kind of impasse that's been going on for a long time about whether or not we would ever get another one.
Yeah, they walked
And-
out.
Yeah.
Both Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth were you know, set to star, and they both walked out of negotiations.
Walked out of it. But now there's a word that this may be back on again.
Yeah, and different director, and I'm excited because of the name, Noah Hawley.
Yeah.
For those who don't know that name, he is the guy that created Fargo, which is just the TV show, I should say, which is just one of the most brilliant things that you would think would not be cool because, like, how can you make a TV show out of this movie? And he brilliantly did it.
He did it, and it's great.
And then he also created Legion, which, you know, I am a huge fan of. It's more of a cult, you know, thing. It's not that big of a show, but I really, really enjoy Legion.
Yeah.
So he is set to direct, we think, and that would be pretty exciting.
That'd be huge. So,
And I like these Star Trek movies. I know some people have their issues with them.
I mean, I thought the one where they went to the planet with the that one was pretty
The last one?
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah,
that one was
it
pretty
was-
boring. I
It
fell
was
asleep.
it was okay.
Yeah, but
I almost fell asleep in the theater.
Yeah,
and that doesn't happen. very
but with this one, I mean, the cast is great.
Right.
The cast is solid.
I think it'd be fun to see, both Hemsworth and Pine chewing up the scenery together. Those are, you know, some of my favorite Chris's.
Yes. Yes.
They're both really funny. We have 4 Chris's, right, that are like all pretty funny and like likable.
Yeah. Those 4 need to do a movie together.
They should, right? Like
Oh
some
my
kind of
God,
like
the 4
Sinatra
Chris's?
thing, like some
Yeah.
sort of Ocean's 11 take.
Yes. Okay, I like this idea.
Chris's Unite.
Yeah, Chris squared, or no, Chris, well, it'd be more than that.
It's not cubed, it's
Chris squared times 2.
whatever that.
I don't know. We don't need to do the math on here.
I'm not a mathematician.
Let's just move on from that. Let's just pretend that never happened.
Let's
cut
do
that out.
Yeah, can we cut that?
Let's cut that. All right. Moving on, though, the final thing that we want to bring up, another big thing that's going on with rumors has to do with the Joker and just what a huge success it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of Oscar talk for Joaquin Phoenix, and there were all these rumors this week about a sequel that was going to be happening.
And that's
but it may not be happening.
No, it's not happening.
It's not happening.
As far as we know, there's been no talks. Todd Phillips said that he never talked about a sequel at all and that story was incorrect.
Yeah.
But from what I can tell, an interesting part of this is that he pitched originally to do an entire genre series, like actually have his own label or something of dark villain backstories in DC.
Okay.
And that was before he did the Joker. And they were like, no, but you can make one. And
right, because didn't they give him like a really low budget? Just
probably. I mean, it's a you're not going to need a lot for a movie like that, right?
Yeah.
But so low budget for these days, anyways. I'm sure it was like $30 or $40 million.
Right.
But so now it made $1 billion. Maybe they're going to go back to that idea. It's
Go back to that idea and do another backstory of,
Penguin or something? I don't know.
Yeah, Penguin, Sandman. I mean, there's different ones that they could.
Did you see the SNL one?
Yes, I did see that one.
With David Harbour being Oscar the Grouch.
Yes, the Grouch, the backstage. Yeah.
I think you risk falling into sort of a comical, like.
If every one of them is
if all of them have these dark, you know, backstories that are prestige films.
I wish if they could do it that they could bring in a full new Batman and just build the universe off of Joaquin Phoenix and the Joker.
Well, they have a new Batman, but it's not going to have anything to do with that. And DC.
Such a mess. It's such a mess.
Messy. It is the antithesis of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
In some ways that's good, but in other ways it's confusing to me, and I'm in the neck deep in this kind of stuff, so I feel like it must be confusing to other people that are watching this.
Yeah, Jared Leto cancels Joker 2. Just take a look there. What's on our screen? Yeah, Jared Leto was not happy. That's actually a fun thing to fall down if you want to read something interesting. Jared Leto's reaction to this Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. Turns out he wasn't a big fan.
Not a
big
fan.
Not a big fan.
He thought this was going to be his big thing, and he was going to rule the DC universe with this character, and then they cut him out completely of the last movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not stoked.
Rough go.
I'm
Rough
telling
go
you,
for Jared Leto.
He needs
really
to just go do Interview with a Vampire or the Vampire Lestat. He needs to go do those movies.
Okay.
Remember? I told you.
That's right. You did say Jared Leto would be that for the.
He needs to be the Vampire Lestat.
He needs to be a vampire.
Stop worrying about the Joker.
There you go, Jared Leto. Sorry for your tough
gone,
breaks
man.
that you've had.
It's over.
All right. Well, there we go. The last thing I would just want to say is just going back to Disney Plus. Seriously, it is pretty fun going back through some of that programming. If
It
you
is
haven't
great.
subscribed yet.
Yeah.
I've been going back through some of the old Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends, like some of those old cartoons that I watched as a kid. I mean, it's a fun trip.
Yeah, I think I said in my review something like, your brain will go into the nostalgic sunken place. You feel so like weird when you're watching.
Nostalgic sunken place. Wow, that's a lot to unravel right there.
It really is though. You're going through these movies that you haven't even thought about, like Bed Knobs and Broomsticks or something like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting, but it's not comprehensive, we should say. So inevitably, I find myself being like, oh, they don't have this one thing, and now I want to watch this one thing.
Right.
But it is pretty fun, and they have a ton of stuff.
But eventually, probably it'll all end up.
I would assume so, yeah. Right now, it's like licensing deals. That's probably why they don't have it all.
Yeah.
But why not put it all in there eventually?
Yeah.
And then raise the price.
Well, that is it for this week of Between the Streams. Ryan, as always, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody out there, for watching the show. And we've covered a lot of tech today and this week, but coming up next week, it is the start of the holiday season with Thanksgiving on Thursday. It's already here. So we'll be taking a short break just on Thursday, but then we're coming back on Black Friday. We'll be covering all the top tech deals of the day, curating deals from hundreds of websites to help you find the best ones, just like we were talking about today. Also next week, we'll have Colin Morris from Adobe Analytics. We'll be on the show on Wednesday to crunch all of your holiday shopping numbers, like what products are the hot tickets for 2019 and the growing trend of BOPUS. Here's a term that you need to know. That's buy online, pick up in store. That's what they're saying, BOPUS. I'm saying BOPUS, not BOPUS. Before you break the bank, think about contributing some funds to charity, but how do you find one that aligns with your values? That's always the deal, right? You got to find one that works for you. Well, on Monday, we'll talk to GiveList CEO and founder Jonathan Beck. Give list has most major MPOs categorized by what they do, financially rated and verified, so you know your dollars are going to good use. And all that and all the breaking technology news of the week will be live all next week, like I said, except for Thursday. So wherever you are, wherever you consume content, please tune in at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern for another edition of Digital Trends Live.